The next topic what we are going to discuss is angiosperms. Okay, so gymnosperms, as we have already discussed, they are naked seeded plants. What do you mean by naked seeded plants? The seed is not enclosed within the fruit. You don't have a fruit covering enclosing the seed. Seed is not protected by the fruit. But in case of angiosperm, it's all flowering plants, and the seeds, when you are seeing, they are true seeded. Means the seeds are covered by what? They are covered by the fruits. Okay, so the seeds are enclosed. They are not naked. They are enclosed by the fruits. That is the characteristic feature of what? The angiosperms. They produce seeds that are inside the fruits, right? Example for angiosperms are grass, oak, maple, iris, rose, buttercup, geranium. Angiosperms are usually all the flowering plants are coming under the category called as what? The angiosperms, right? So angiosperms is very diverse. Diverse means what? You can find the innumerable numbers of angiosperms with different varieties, with different species are present all around the earth. Now, how much species are being known? You can find it is 2,35,000 species of angiosperms are present, and they are the dominant life forms, means major categories you can find here in this category, that is angiosperms. From very small microscopic wolffia, the flower has been given here the diagram, to the very largest flower, the giant flower, Rafflesia, you would have learned, isn't it? So insectivorous means they are parasitic in nature. So this Rafflesia, when you are seeing the largest flower, is also belonging to angiosperms. So you can find small microscopic flowers to the large Rafflesia are all coming under which one? They are coming under this group, right? So that is regarding again the characteristic feature of what? This angiosperms. So angiosperm diversity, you see, this is an angiosperm, this flowering plant, this palm, okay, sorghum, maize, everything is angiosperm. So all these are what? These are all angiosperms. Now some other characteristics. So angiospermic plants, seed plants that develop unique reproductive organs called as flowers. So all the angiospermic flowers are plants are having flowers, unique, beautiful part of a plant, isn't it? The flowers are present where? In the angiosperms, and they are an evolutionary advantage because they attract pollinators. Pollinators means what? The birds, bees and all, they can stay alive, they can develop, okay, because of the presence of these flowers, because they are pollinating. Pollinating means what? From one flower to another flower, they are going, visiting, taking the pollen grains, dusting it to the another stigma, then maybe sometime fertilization is taking place and it is resulting in the formation of a new species sometimes, okay. So like that can also happen. So that is the characteristics of what? This angiosperms, they are good pollinators, they attract insects, birds and bees towards themselves, thereby helping in pollination. Pollination means what? Just meeting of male and the female part is taking place, okay. All plants contain ovaries. Ovary is present. You would have learned ovary. Now what is the part ovary? Flower, when we are discussing, I will tell you what is ovary, which protect the seed and give the angiosperm their name. I told you. So the flower, the seed is ovule is being protected by ovary. This ovary is later turning into fruit, okay. So since the fruit is covering the seed, that's why the name suggests it is a angiosperm. After pollination, ovary develops into fruit which contains the seed. Fruit walls of the tissue surrounding the seeds are present. Fruits are used for dispersing seeds from one place to another. So like that you can find the birds are collecting the fruits or the animals are collecting the fruits from one place to another, and they are helping in dispersal of seeds. So seeds in that places, that localities, the new plant will be coming out. So fruits are playing a major role in dispersal because animals, birds, everyone, they eat those and they carry the fruits from one place to another, thereby helping in what? Dispersal of seeds, so that you can find the plant is growing in different regions. Now all angiospermic flowers, when you are seeing, plants are undergoing what? Fertilization, okay. It protects the endosperm from being wasted away. So mostly they undergo fertilization, producing flowers. Xylem is present. It is made up of parts. Xylem, what is the function of xylem? It is a vascular tissue, discussed already, isn't it, in pteridophytes. Xylem is helping in conduction of water and minerals. Phloem is helping in conduction of food. Xylem contains different types of cells, we will be discussing in later chapters. Name of them is xylem contains tracheids, xylem vessels, xylem fibers or wood fibers, xylem parenchyma. 4 types of cells are present where? In the xylem. In phloem, you can find how many types of cells? You are having seed tubes, companion cell, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Okay. So, these are some of the cells which are present where? It is present in the phloem. So, xylem is containing some cells, phloem is containing some cells. In detail, we will be learning in later chapters. As of now, you should know that xylem is present in angiosperm, phloem is present, and the xylem and phloem is helping in conduction of water, minerals and food. Okay. There are 2 classes in case of this angiosperm. What are they? One is dicotyledon and another one is monocotyledon. As the name suggests, this is monocotyledon and this one is a dicotyledon. Seed leaves, the leaves which is coming out from the seeds when you are seeing that leaves, if it is 2 in nature, dicotyledon. If it is 1, then it is monocots. Okay. So, monocot contain only 1 seed leaf or 1 cotyledon. Dicot contains 2 seed leaves or 2 cotyledons. Okay. So, example, the differentiation: monocotyledon, dicotyledon. Monocots have only 1 seed leaf, dicots have 2 seed leaves. Leaves have parallel venation, in dicots it is reticulate venation. What do you mean by reticulate? Reticulate means like this: you have a main axis and like a network the veins are arranged, then it is called as what? Reticulate. Now, banana, if you are seeing, it is a monocot. Okay. So, the leaf grass is a monocot. The main axis is there. How the leaves veins are arranged? Parallel to one another. Grass also, if you are seeing, they are parallel to one another, which means they are having parallel venation. The veins are arranged in a parallel manner in monocot. The veins are arranged in a network like form, the net like form, reticulate venation. Okay. That is the difference between what? Monocots and dicots. And dicots usually have taproot system. You know what is taproot system? Taproot system means what? They have a main root followed by from that secondary root, primary root, secondary root, tertiary root, rootlets. Like this the structure will be. Monocots, what they are having? They are having fibrous. Fibrous means from one particular place you can find many roots are coming like fibers. Okay. So, that is a characteristic feature of monocots. They are having fibrous root system. Dicots are having taproot system. Okay. Example for monocots are orchids, grasses, bamboos, and examples of dicots are beans, oaks, elms and cactuses are examples of what? Dicots, right. Now, moving on to this monocot, the structure if you can see here. Dicot, this is dicot, they are having reticulate venation. This is petiole, okay, attached to that of the stem. Okay, bud is present. So, this is the stem, this is the blade, leaf blade. Okay, they are having a sheathing leaf blades, just like one stalk is not attaching, the leaf itself is attached surrounding the stem. That is the characteristic feature of what? The monocot. So, this is a dicot leaf and this one is a monocot. Sorry, this is a dicot leaf and this one is a monocot leaf, right. Now, moving on to the structure of a flower, very important. Everyone listen very carefully, right. From this we need to learn a lot. Stalk of a flower, we call it as pedicel. The one which you are holding in your hand when you are proposing someone, the one which you are holding it. So, that part of the flower we call it as what? We call it as pedicel. What do we call? Pedicel. Stalk of a leaf is called as petiole. Stalk of a flower is called as pedicel. This pedicel is leading to, so this is a pedicel and it is leading to a cup-like structure. Okay, that cup-like structure we call it as receptacle or thalamus. What do we call? Receptacle or thalamus. In this thalamus only different parts of the flowers are arranged. Okay, so what all parts of the flowers are arranged? We will see. Okay, so this is the pedicel and thereafter you can find this is the thalamus. Sepals, petals. So, what is this? This is petals. Okay, sepals. Thereafter you can find ovary, style, stigma, and you are having anthers like this, right. So, this diagram you would have drawn. So, here this is the leafing base, receptacle. This is the sepals, green in color, protecting the flower in bud condition. Okay, green photosynthesis, they do prepare food. Petals, these are petals, they are helping in attracting the flowers, birds, insects and all for pollination. This one you can find androecium. What is this one? This is androecium, or we call it as individually we call it as stamen. Okay, and thereafter this one is the gynoecium pistil. What do we call them? Pistil. So in this all parts we have to know about andrecium and gynoecium. Andrecium stamen and gynoecium is pistil or carpel. So what is the characteristic feature of andrecium and gynoecium? Structure we need to know. Okay. So andrecium, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many are there? 6 stamens are there. Collectively we call it as what? Andrecium. Stamen contains, one stamen contain a filament, and thereafter we can find they contain anther. What is present? Anther, bilobed anther. Inside the anther only what will be present? The pollen grains. What are present? The male gametes, pollen grains. Now moving on to the female part, this is gynoecium. Which one is gynoecium? This is gynoecium 1. Okay. So here you can find the first, the bottom swollen part, ovary. Okay. This one stalk we call it as style. On the top it is stigma. Stigma, style, ovary. Inside the ovary, ovule, which is going to turn into seed. What they are going to turn into? Seed. And this is ovary is going to turn into fruit. Okay. So this is the characteristic feature of what? The gynoecium. Okay. Single, all these gynoeciums, they are combined together and they form the main center part called as what? Gynoecium. Okay. So angiosperm life cycle, when you are saying reproduction in angiosperm takes place in a flower. Yeah, flower is a reproductive organ. Pollination, fertilization, seed, all are developing in this flower only. Flower production life begins life cycle. So when the flower starts producing, which means that they have entered the sexual cycle. Okay. Now they are going to give rise to a new plant by producing the seeds. Okay. So male gametophyte, where it is developing, I told you, you are having filament, anther. Inside the anther only the pollen grains are produced, which means in the anther only what is produced? The male gametophyte. Spore cells, there are special cells which undergoes what division? Meiosis. So in meiosis what is happening? From 1 to n, how many n is produced? 4 n cells are produced. Like that many spore cells are there, all are undergoing meiosis and they are producing what? Spore cells. Okay, and they are developing what? They are turning into pollen grains. These haploid cells are turning into pollen grains. Now female gametophyte is developing where? In the ovule. I told you where is the ovule. I have already discussed where the ovule is, isn't it? So you are having ovary, style and stigma. Here the ovule is. So the female gametophyte is developing inside the ovule, and this female gametophyte mainly contain in this ovule inside. If you are seeing, they are containing a sac called as what? Inside the ovule there is a special sac called as embryo sac. What do we call them? Embryo sac. Okay. Now listen very carefully, very important part here. This embryo sac, so imagine this is the embryo sac. This embryo sac is undergoing, in that special cells are undergoing, the female gametophyte is undergoing division, and they are forming 8 haploid cells. Okay. 3 at the top, antipodals. What do we call them? These 3 cells? Antipodals. 2 in the center, polar nuclei. What do we call them? Polar nuclei. So these are all different nuclei. Okay, produced, all are haploid in nature. So this is antipodal, this one is polar nuclei. Thereafter you can find here 3 is there. The center one is the egg cell, egg nuclei. Okay, and the 2 outside, these 2 are there. Now we call it as synergids. What do we call them? Synergids. Synergids. In detail in next year you will be learning, okay, about reproduction. Now as of now some concept you should know. So pollen grains are formed from the anther, male gametophyte. They are resulting in the formation of what? The pollen grains. Now when you are seeing the structure of pollen grain, it is having an inner covering and outer covering. The inner covering we call it as the intine. What do we call them? Intine. Outer covering, this one you can find, this is exine. What is that? Exine. Inside there are 2 cells. Okay, one cell when you are seeing, we call it as tube nucleus. What do we call them? Tube nucleus. Another cell we call it as generative nucleus. What do we call them? Generative nucleus. This generative nucleus divides and forms 2 male nuclei. What they are forming? 2 male nuclei. I repeat again, So pollen grains, you have to be very careful how it is taking place. So inside the anther, okay, you can find male gametophyte which is present inside the anther. Spore mother cells is undergoing meiosis, forming what? Haploid spores. So when you are seeing the structure of pollen grain, it is having what and all? Inner intine, outer exine. Inside the pollen grain there are two nucleus. One nucleus is called as what? The tube nucleus. It is having some function, I will tell you what. Another one nucleus is called as what? Generative nucleus. Okay. This generative nucleus, when they reach the last part, the female part, they will divide and form two male nuclei. From one generative nucleus, two male nuclei will be formed. Now female, again I will tell you once more, embryo sac. Inside the female, what will be present? Embryo sac. In the embryo sac, how many cells are there? 8 cells. What are the 8 cells? Or 8 nucleus are there. What are they? Antipodals 3 on the top, polar nuclei 2 in the center, 2 synergids, and the center one is the egg. Like this, how many nuclei will be there? There will be 8 nuclei. Okay. So next we are going to discuss about double fertilization in angiosperms. Okay. So to make it more clear, listen students, we have discussed the structure of pollen grain and the structure of embryo sac, isn't it? So when fertilization is taking place, so this is the female part of a flower. You have what? A stigma, style, okay, ovary. On the ovary inside you are having what? You are having the ovule, right? And inside that you are having what? The embryo sac. Means ovule containing a covering. Inside at the last one is what? The embryo sac. There are how many cells in the embryo sac? How many nuclei in the embryo sac? 8, isn't it? So what are they? One is the antipodals 3. In the center you are having how many? 2 polar nuclei, and here also you are having 2 synergids, and one is what? The egg nuclei, right? So this embryo sac only I am taking, the rest all is same. Now pollen grain is coming and falling on the stigma, right? If it is of the same variety, the pollen grain will help in the formation of what? The pollen tube. What they will be forming? Pollen tube. So in the pollen grain, how many nuclei were there? 2 nuclei. One was the tube nucleus and another one was the generative nucleus. These two, the tube nucleus as well as the generative nucleus, will be at the back. Okay. Now generative nucleus, when it starts developing this pollen tube, tube nucleus is in the front, generative nucleus is the back. The generative nucleus will immediately divide and they will help in the formation of how many nuclei? 2 male nuclei. So in this tube you can find first is tube nucleus followed by 2 male nuclei, right? So they are coming like this and they are reaching where? The embryo sac. Till that the pollen tube is taking the entry. Now when this is coming, what is the role of this tube nucleus? Is that they are dissolving all the any hindrances there, any membranes are there. This tube nucleus is secreting some digestive juices. What they are doing? Digestive juices, and dissolving any obstacles are there. All these obstacles, what they are doing? They are dissolving, and thereby they are making that pollen tube to come till where? It is coming till the embryo sac, till that it is coming. Immediately after entering into the embryo sac, the tube nucleus will disappear. The tube nucleus, what is happening? Their work is over, they will disappear. At the back, how many male nuclei are there? 2 male nuclei. Till this it is very clear, right? So embryo sac was having 8 nuclei. Pollen grain fall on the stigma. The pollen grain, when you are seeing, they are having 2 nuclei. One is the tube nucleus and another one is the generative nucleus. The generative nucleus divides into 2 male nuclei. Tube nucleus is helping in taking the formation of the pollen tube and taking the male nuclei till the embryo sac. After reaching the embryo sac, listen very carefully, after reaching the embryo sac, I told you 3 nuclei at the top, 2 at the center and 3 at the bottom. In this is the egg, center one is the egg nuclei, main one. Okay. This 2 nuclei, polar nuclei, will fuse together and they will form a single nucleus. Okay. So they will be forming what? A single nucleus. Thereafter, this male nuclei is come over here, isn't it? One male nuclei will take its entry into the egg and they will fuse with the egg and help in the formation of zygote. What is formed? Zygote. This is one fertilization. Another male nuclei will go and fuse with This polar nuclei, when they are fusing together, they are forming one nucleus, isn't it? So that one nucleus we call it as what? The secondary nucleus. What do we call them? Secondary nucleus. Will now this polar male nuclei will go and fuse with this secondary nucleus, and they will form endosperm nucleus. What they are producing? Endosperm nucleus. Clear? Everyone have understood what I have told you? I repeat. So here these two polar nuclei, immediately when the male nucleus is nearing, they will fuse and form one secondary nucleus. One male nuclei will go and fuse with the egg, and they will form what? Zygote. Another male nuclei will go and fuse with the secondary nucleus, and they will form what? They will form the endosperm nucleus, right? Since two fertilization is taking place, one is the fertilization between the male nuclei and the egg, another is the fertilization between the male nuclei and the secondary nucleus. This is called as what? Double fertilization. It's not that two times the male nuclei is going and fusing egg. No, one is fusing and forming zygote with the egg. The other one is going and fusing with the secondary nucleus to form endosperm. And what is the function of endosperm? They are storing the food for the seed, for the development of the seed. They are storing the food. Okay, that is the role of what? The endosperm. This fusion which is taking place here, two polar nuclei fusing to form one, and then the male nuclei is going and fusing. Since three nuclei are involved, this fusion is also called as what? Triple fusion. What do we call them? Triple fusion. So this fusion can also be called as what? The triple fusion. The main fusion is between the zygote and the male nuclei between the egg and the male nuclei, resulting in the formation of zygote, which is later turning into seed. Okay. So double fertilization, two fertilization takes place. One of these sperm nuclei, I told you the male nuclei is sperm nuclei, fuses with the egg, forming diploid zygote. Another sperm nuclei fuses with the two embryo sac nuclei to form what? Triploid. Three nuclei is there, isn't it? Cell which grow into endosperm. The food is stored for them. So that is called as what? The triple fusion, right? Now angiospermic life cycle, when you are seeing, so this is the life cycle of angiosperm. Look into very clearly. So this is the life cycle of what? The angiosperm. So this is the angiospermic plant, flowering plant. So in the flowering plant, you are having the female part as well as the male part, isn't it? So the male part, when you are seeing, the male part is what? The anther and the filament. So this is the male part. This one is the female part. Stigma, style and ovary. Inside the ovary only you are having megasporangium ovule. Okay. And inside the anther only microspore mother cells. Microsporangium. Okay. So this microsporangium, in that meiosis division will take place, and they will help in the formation of what? The microspores. Megaspore mother cells, they will help in the formation of what? The embryo sac. Okay. In that the embryo sac, the center one is called as what? The egg. 8 nuclei will be there, one is the egg. Microspore also, I told you, 2 nucleus will be there, one is the tube nucleus and another 2 is what? The male gametes. Now these male gametes, one male gamete will go and fuse with the egg to form what? Zygote. Another male gamete will go and fuse with the two polar nuclei to form what? The endosperm nucleus. This zygote will later develop into embryo, and again this embryo, the seed, again sown in the soil, they will develop into a new plant, and the cycle is continuing. So from after meiosis, it is called as what? Gametophytic generation, and this diploid condition we call it as what? Sporophytic generation. Hope it's clear. That's all for today. Thank you.